Went to a job interview at a restaurant. The manager offered me food and made pay for it. Man, I never thought I'd be posting here. Even at some point I thought some of you guys were exaggerating, but little did I know. So the last couple of days I was looking to get a job to help my dad with the bills when I noticed a restaurant near to me was hiring. I instantly reached out to them and was told that I needed to take the interview at another branch. That was pretty far away from me. Since I don't know the bus routes, I asked my dad if he could drop me there. Once I got there I started being pretty anxious. Nonetheless, I went inside to take my interview with the branch manager. This is where everything started being awkward. She pretty much made me wait for about 30 minutes. Even though we already had an appointment set for the interview. Not to say that we took the whole interview standing in the middle of the restaurant with all the customers around us listening to us, which made me pretty uncomfortable. Lol. When the interview was finished, she asked me if I had eaten yet. I told her that I was a little hungry since I skipped a meal. She said, "No problem, we'll prepare you some food." In the meanwhile, we just waited there in silence, which made everything way more awkward. After a while, the waitress came with my plate of food and the manager proceeded to go inside her office and never came back out. So I ended up having to pay for the food with the money my dad gave me for my transportation. I ended up having to walk like 8 kilometers, 5 miles, back to my house. That's pretty much the worst job interview in my life. I just blocked their numbers after that. Edit. I forgot to mention that I actually tried to left without paying since I was considered the meal was free, but the waiter, she was there when the manager mentioned the free meal, showed me the bill just as I was heading outside. Sorry for any typos, grammar mistakes. English is not my main language. Yeah, I would have just left. You'll know for the next time. When you're young, you are used to people having the authority to tell you what to do and can easily let that continue. One of the most important lessons you will learn is to say no to people like that. And don't worry about Redditors aggressively telling you that you should have stood up for yourself. Why did you pay? She offered it to you. I'd have left. A bit different, but I went for an interview for a job. Sales. I was desperate. Don't judge. Rolling on the floor laughing. I walked in and everything just felt off. It actually felt like a pop-up office and everyone was just actors. I found out the job was one of these stand in a shopping center, mall and sell a product. Which put me off 100%. The interview itself was weird and the guy was talking to my like a mate, and the next thing he said, "Tomorrow you will go out with such and such and he will show you the ropes." The next day I was getting bombarded with messages and phone calls because I didn't show up. I blocked the numbers and never heard from them again. Why did you pay? You didn't order your meal, she made it for you. She only needs to do that 300 times a day for her business to be viable. She probably decided early on she wasn't going to hire you, so decided to instead turn you into a paying customer so she would feel like she didn't waste her time. Shitty thing to do for sure, but not unexpected from restaurant management. Those people can be absolute trash. This is a good life lesson. You're in an impoverished position, so don't feel confident enough to stand up to abusers, and that's how you get screwed over. Read up about imposter syndrome and nix it before it ruins your life. Write a review on anything you can find, please. This place just sucks. I had a job interview arranged with a work provider. I rocked up and the guy was busy working. He asked me questions while he kept working. It was busy. And then we realized there had been a miscommunication with the job provider about my skills. So once we cleared that up and clarified what I actually could do, he said, "Well, thanks for coming in. Would you like some food?" Quote, "Yeah, sure." I say. So I wait. He makes me some food and passes it to me and says, I don't know if we will need you, but I will contact you if we do. That was it. End of interview and free meal. I did end up doing some work for them, but couldn't afford to keep me on. I would not have paid. It was offered. Let them escalate if they want. I'd walk out without paying every time in that situation. Post a review and write up what happened. That you had a job interview and were offered food and then at the end you were told you had to pay for it. That you find that really rude and inconsiderate and you feel like others should know so they're not blindsided like you were. It sounded to me like it was implied by the manager that your meal was free, otherwise you could have just sat down on your own to eat. The manager should have made the server aware. But you never know. I went for an interview at a brewery. The owner came up and said he was super busy and I'd have to come back. So the bartender asked if I wanted a beer. I said yes. The owner came over 35 minutes later and goes, wow. A beer while you're trying to get a job? Real professional. This is terrible. So sorry. They comped it and kept your money as a tip. Plot twist. Those weren't customers at the other tables. There were also people thinking they were on interviews and waiting. Risky business model, but it gets people in the door. How to get a customer in 2022. Have the manager personally give you corporate's number, and then call to complain about them. Go mega Karen on them. Same thing happened to me when I interviewed with Bottega Louis in LA a few years ago. We'd love for you to come have lunch at the restaurant and talk more about the position, and partway through they had to leave to do something else. Waiter drops off a bill on the table minutes later. Assholes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.